last night. We are recording on a Tuesday. Arsenal lost to Newcastle. Surely now, if you had to put it in percentages, heading into the final day of the season, Jack, who's going to finish in a Champions League position?
I think you'd have to make Tottenham favourites, big favourites. I'd say maybe 95% chance. It's basically
95.
all they've got to do is avoid losing to Norwich, the worst team in the league. It's the equivalent of a tap in. You know, not every tap in goes in, but 19 do out of 20. So I reckon that's about right, 95%.
And Greg, are you surprised by this, given how topsy-turvy the battle for the top four has been? In fact, the battle for relegation, the battle for the title, and also the top four have all been equally enthralling over the course of the season. But Arsenal, it looked like it was theirs just a week and a half ago. I think it was like 70% chance they were going to get Champions League football.
Yeah, but Arsenal are so unpredictable, aren't they? Even on the back of the good form, the momentum they gathered, you would never, ever bet against them throwing in a performance like they did last night against a team essentially with nothing to play for, albeit a good improved side under Eddie Howe. So I would never want to be, if I were a betting man, I would never really want to be having too much money behind Arsenal. And I think Spurs have just been creeping up. Obviously not unnoticed, but their form and momentum has possibly been less spoken about. Obviously, the North London derby will have given them huge amounts of belief. And certainly from Everton's point of view, and incentivised Arsenal on the last day of the season is not a particularly promising prospect at this stage on Tuesday of the final week. But yeah, as you say, everything's fluctuating all the time at the top and bottom. And it looks like there's still going to be a really interesting finale.
Yeah, I would also argue that because I covered the game and we touched on it at the North London derby, getting a draw at Anfield against an informed Liverpool would have given Spurs confidence as well. In fact, during the course of the entire season, I think they've taken 8 points off the top two in the table, which is more than any other side, Jack. And it's not all on Antonio Conte. Let's not forget, Nuno also got a victory over Manchester City right at the start of the season. But what did you take away when you compare the two North London clubs when the derby happened, Jack? Did it show the gulf between the two managers? Arteta still at the, you could say, embryonic stages of his career, whereas Conte has been there, done that, even at an international level.
Yeah, I think it showed. I think my biggest takeaway from the derby was that there is a big gulf in experience between Arsenal and Tottenham at the moment. And that applies to the managers, but I think it also applies to the players. You know, you could see that by the way that Arsenal started so energetically in the first 10 minutes, but then they lost their heads. They, gave away a silly penalty. Rob Holding stupidly got himself sent off. They conceded, a goal from a set piece, and then the second half, Tottenham scored one more and saw out the game. And the fact is, if you look through that Tottenham team, there are players who've been playing at the top end of the Premier League for the last 10 years. Kane, Son, Dyer, Lloris. I mean, Højbjerg hasn't been around that long, but he plays like a very experienced player. Ben Davies has been at Tottenham for 8 years now. So there's a lot of guys there with a lot of experience. And I think that really shone through in that game. Tottenham, we're not used to seeing a Tottenham team that's so canny and clever and good at game management and holding on to clean sheets and seeing out the win and all that stuff that maybe the Tottenham teams of Pochettino weren't associated with being able to do. But I think that this particular Tottenham team under Conte does have that experience. And I think that's really given them the extra edge over Arsenal in the run-in.